What video game made you rage quit and you haven't played the game since? Overwatch. I got to Masters as Reinhardt and it just became so fucking toxic. It ruined the game for me. It eventually became too stressful to be fun. When I tried to pick it back up, they'd added a few characters and made a bunch of tweaks and everyone yelled at me when I picked Reinhardt because he wasn't meta anymore. Made me sad. I loved that game. Edit. I don't know who'll see this but y'all have convinced me to re-download Overwatch. I'll probably be trash but if anyone wants to play on PS4, PM me or PSN. Similar experience. One day decided to drop competitive and become a full-time deathmatch Lucio. I haven't regretted it. Most fun I had since the start of WoW. Reinhardt is always meta. In fact, if you pick anyone but Reinhardt, and your team isn't doing well, people will start telling you to switch to Reinhardt, but that's beside the point. Toxic players are toxic. That's the main reason I rarely play any competitive games. Being competitive should not mean shouting abuse at your team when you lose, and shouting abuse at the enemy team when you win. Please, for anyone reading this, if you see or hear people being toxic in a game, call them out. Tell them not to talk like that, and if they continue, mute them. Don't bother arguing, because it doesn't really help. If the game has a report system, then report them. The only reason games are so toxic is because our gaming culture allows it. Super ghouls and ghosts foo that game. I rage quit this not when I got sent back to the beginning, but when I got to the penultimate boss, had the shitty ring weapon, and then died. To the stage timer. I'd killed red devils with the ring weapon, I'd fought through so much, there was literally no way the boss would actually kill me. But I couldn't beat the stage fast enough for this shitty foo of a game. Why this is on people's best of sins lists is mind-boggling. I played that foo-ing game on sins back then at my friend's house. I cannot really remember it being super foo-ing hard then, but remembered it as a challenging game. I played it again on an emulator in the late 2000s. I tried so hard to advance for days but never made it to the second half of the world. Then I bought the Sins Classic and quickly discovered the save and reload, replay function. I felt godlike mastering level after level, traveled to worlds I've never been before, conquered the final tower to defeat that shitlord Arceus. And then the game tells me to start over again. Rage quit. Why is this all the way down here? What made it more frustrating is the graphics looked so cool at the time. Years later I found it on a PC emulator. The difference this time was that I had quick save for those foo-ing ghouls and ghosts. The game was still damn near impossible because you had to at least have 2 goddamn seconds to hit the F4 key and I still ended up losing lives. After doing all that I realized how truly impossible that game was. Anyone who said they beat it were either lying, or it was the only game they had and they were locked in a room with it for a decade. Geometry Dash. UGH, don't remind me of that devilish game. Took up all my time in middle school and angered me to the point where I just needed to be isolated from people for like a couple hours when it got bad. Lol, I rage quit that game after beating Stereo Madness back in 2015, thinking I was never gonna go back to that game. 2017 came, I started playing it again and now I can beat hard insane demons without raging very much. I also now get the impulsion to talk about it whenever I see it mentioned. Rainbow Six Siege. I am very bad at games. This is probably my favorite FPS ever, but it is not an easy game to get into. And the community is filled with scumbags who would rather get easy kills on noobs than play a fair game, but I think that is the case with most games. I quit after a teammate walked in front of my line of fire resulting in his death, being called every name in the book, and then being team killed at the beginning of every round by his friends. This is one of the reasons single-player games are my favorite kind, one of my favorite games of all time. I had been playing it since release, I put obscene amounts of time and effort and was pretty good, but a bunch of people I knew who were kind of friends got into it and they were so foo-ing toxic I couldn't deal with even going online anymore. Haven't really played it since. I know you can play in offline mode and do not disturb and all that, it's just these guys ruined the game. I thought I was decent at it until people started shooting me through walls I didn't know existed and exploding me with bombs from 4 rooms away. I have never felt more panicked and inadequate than being the last alive in an R6S match. Jesus DS. My fiancé plays, he's super good. Like, consistently and good and platinum every season. I decided to give it a try. Yeah, no. I was awful. He kept trying to get me to try it again because he would like to play together. I'm so bad that learning wouldn't even be enjoyable. It just pissed me off. That's what kept me from coming back to try and get better. My boyfriend would love to have me play with him, but it's so hard to get any real learning or practice done that I just don't want to bother. I'd get killed by the enemy team or my own almost immediately in every match I tried to join. It felt like I was banging my head against the wall for no reason. I liked it at the start when everyone played it like an actual tactical game. Had an absolute blast breaching doors and being the shield for my team to stack up behind doing full room sweeps. Now you get hit with poison darts, killer drones, forget to silence your phone on a SWAT operation, get seen through walls, all the while some crazy person from an elite force that's never done an actual operation snorts a pound of coke and runs around the map with a pistol that's secretly a bolter from 40k. I have 700 plus PvP hours, not what's counted on Steam, and once you're in a better mindset of being able to just laugh it off and not be frustrated, it's a hell of a lot of fun. I solo sometimes, but even then, if you don't got a squad, you have to be able to just expect to be hard carrying. As people have suggested, r/r6 teams and r/CG Academy is the best place to find teams and learn. The r/Rainbow Six subreddit is a cesspool of respost art and lots of as-holes. As a female playing the game, there have been less toxic players. They still exist, but they have definitely gone down from the toxicity bans they've introduced and a lot of mini-ban waves of cheaters and toxic players. I quit when all my teammates got killed by the enemy team, then I killed 4 or 5 of them and my team vote kicked me because they'd rather lose the round than have me win by myself. A few months later I went back just to finish off all achievements and uninstalled it again. Never going back. This is the game I came to post about. First time I logged in, I stepped away for a few seconds while the game was loading. Came back to see the round had just started, and my character was TK'd by some punk kid with his family. I just rage quit and never logged back in. I think if it hadn't been the first time logging in, I would have played it more. But that first incident kinda set the tone. God, that game was so much fun when I got into it. The different operators and abilities. I honestly didn't mind having to grind to unlock them at first. But then it became too stressful. The wait times were so long for a round to begin to potentially just die with little to no warning in a few seconds. You could be ahead 5-1 and then by some crazy stroke of luck that one guy gets an ace and you lose. I can't play anymore because my body just automatically reacts and my heart starts racing even when I'm not in a dangerous spot in the game. Yeah, same. I got pissed because I couldn't find other game modes to play after getting rinsed by some smurf simul. The game has no substance, I agree. I'm decent as CSGO, and other FPS games. But it's something about the unforgiving nature of R6S that gets me heated. There will be times your legs are sticking around corners or past cover, or in sight of the enemy, and you have no way of knowing, or seeing them. There will be times when your character's overly fluid movement causes them to be in view of, or under fire from an enemy that you can't see. For instance, you peek a corner, see an enemy, then duck back around, a half second later you die from a one-shot headshot. I loved Call of Duty growing up and specifically Search and Destroy and other objective-based game types. For a solid year of R6 release my buddies were like you/WOH, you'd really enjoy this game. You should play it. I put it off for so long, eventually tried one of the free weekends. Holy shit, I've never been so mad at a game. I think in my first match I had some random telling me how shit I am at the game, then I have my teammates trying to make suggestions on what wall I should reinforce, what wall I shouldn't reinforce. I should be looking through this glory hole to see through that room that has the doorway to a specific hallway. Oh, don't stand there cause they'll shoot you from the outside. Then more randoms telling me I suck. Dude, are you even using a compensator? I noped off that game in about 40 minutes. Never to have returned. Dying Light. I had completed the game, got the best gold weapons and vehicle parts, and now I was gonna tackle side missions and such. Till my file got corrupted. I lost everything. There was no way I was ever gonna play that game again, so I didn't. I think that's why I keep getting bored with the game, haven't gotten far enough. I can't kill any zombies without going through multiple garbage melee weapons that break. The graphics are good, the world is cool, but the fun factor at the start of the game isn't there for me. I'm definitely planning on getting back to it at some point though. Dying Light. I had completed the game, got the best gold weapons and vehicle parts, and now I was gonna tackle side missions and such. Till my file got corrupted. I lost everything. There was no way I was ever gonna play that game again, so I didn't. I think that's why I keep getting bored with the game, haven't gotten far enough. I can't kill any zombies without going through multiple garbage melee weapons that break. The graphics are good, the world is cool, but the fun factor at the start of the game isn't there for me. I'm definitely planning on getting back to it at some point though. Personally, I don't feel like grinding out max in Dying Light was a long process if it was something you ever wanted to do again, and I'm pretty sure you could rush the entire main story in very little time. If it's on PC, I'd imagine you could maybe even just download somebody's save with just the main story done and go from there. I know I maxed agility fairly quickly due to some kinda glitchy spot where you could just keep sliding into the same corner. Combat I forget, but I'm pretty sure it was very passive and not all that useful past the first couple of levels, and I think there was some way to level it with Molotovs at night if you wanted to. That survivor rank is legit, like 20 minutes or something like that once quarantine zones are available at a certain one close to the tower, because you can get 3 supply packs in like 50 seconds a run or something like that. Foo with difficulty, and I think it'll double the XP when turned in and you'll get max quickly. Weapons: you could get a lot of gold weapons by doing prison runs well, and while I never did it myself, I think you could cheese PvP to an extent to get guns. Vehicle parts TBH I got zero clue. I finished that story and called it a day, couldn't be bothered to keep going. By that point I wasn't having much fun with that DLC. Reminds me of Modern Warfare 1, I think. There's an extra level where you've gotta make it through an airplane with no room for errors. I couldn't beat it until I used a cheat to see what I needed to do to get through it. The game won't give you an achievement for beating the level if you've used a cheat, even if you beat it again with no cheats. I deleted my game and did the whole thing over and still no achievement. Good thing Dying Light 2 will be coming out. I don't play many games anymore, but that's one I will be getting. It's a shame there aren't many good zombie survival games, and even fewer good zombie movies. I just finished it recently. The end was like, wait, what? What? Come again. So have I finished this game or not? Are these credits like, halfway through credits? I just put the controller down and walked away and won't go back to do all the side missions. I'd still play the next one, but the will to carry on has gone, and I found the ending deflating after all the effort I put in. I know that feeling, man. When Gears of War 3 launched, I did a solo run on Insane. Made it all the way to phase 2 of the final fight, got a checkpoint, so I decided to put it down for a bit as it was giving me some troubles. I caved and asked a buddy for help, and upon launching the game, it told me it could not locate the save file anywhere. I had the same thing happened. I had been playing through it with my girlfriend and we loved it. We were probably 3/4 THs done and running around with all the side missions. It was just so much fun. We went to load it up one day and the file was corrupted. We deleted and reinstalled it and it never loaded our save point again. It really upset us both, to the point of where we never picked it up again and stopped playing games in general for a long time. A similar thing happened with me and Dead Island. I had an insane weapons collection and was very proud of my progress. My friends and me were going on a lad's holiday and stayed at my place the night before. We got drunk, me particularly, and one of my friends thought it was hilarious to sit at the edge of a cliff and throw all my weapons over the edge and save my game as I was scrambling around on the floor and not really able to do anything about it. It's a funny memory, but I never went back to the game after because it just seemed like so much effort to go and get everything back. Meanwhile, I decided to play everything again in Nightmare. A corrupted file sucks, but you can take it as an opportunity to play it again, this time going through the entire game with far more style, since even without all of your upgrades, experience makes you a better player. This time I am not even using the grapple hook because doing the parkour with style is even better. I had a similar problem with the predecessor Dead Island. Played for a few weeks making progress, then accidentally started an NPC escort mission with broken weapons and little ammo. The stupid NPC tribal chief kept running straight into fights and my weapons sucked too much to win before he died. Checked, and the trash save system only kept one autosave at a time, meaning I could only ever reload to the beginning and escort him until he died. I cut the disc in half. Ark Survival Evolved. I had amassed at least 2,000 hours worth of assets on an official server. I poured my life into that game every day. It was like a second life, and I took it seriously. Then I got wiped by the Alpha tribe over something stupid. I didn't take it well, to put it lightly. And I quit for about a year. Came back and tried to start again but got ganked on the beach and quit again. Came back a good long while later and got started on a super easy server, and I kept getting knocked unconscious and snatched off my dino by all the new shitty dinos they added, and kept losing all the dinos I tamed while I was gone after being killed while trying to get back to them. Someone was nice enough to donate one of their dinos, but I got snatched off of it by another wild dino, knocked out, then killed, and that tame died because it was on passive, so I straight up depurchased the game from my Steam library and never looked back. My wife and I had such a love-hate relationship with Arkansas back before server transfers. Things were pretty good. There was a reasonable Alpha tribe in relative peace. Then they opened up server transfers. We were part of the Alpha tribe at this point, and we got wiped. Rage quit. Came back a few months later, rejoined Alphas. After a few months go wiped and rage quit again. After a few months we tried a private server. The owner said it was paid many months in advance, and peaceful interactions would be encouraged. My wife and I were big Care Bears, so we were happy as pigs in mud. One day the server just wasn't there, and the owner didn't respond to contacts. I love Arkansas, but I'm the asshole who never once played it online. Solo or hosting it co-op with my kid is really the only way I'll play it. There's too many stories like yours out there that makes me refuse to play it online. I'm old, I ain't got time to build something and then have some no life or come in and destroy my shit while I'm at work. But as an offline experience, it's one of the better survival games. I had a similar thing happen on PvE where an update got dinos spawning inside our house. They killed everything. It was a disaster. I just said to hell with it, bought a server and played with a group of friends. That turned Ark into one of the best games ever. Check out our other videos and subscribe, and leave your suggestions and experiences in the comments below. Have a great day.